Like date night, that's great. Anybody can make a reservation if you successfully make her dinner. Remember Rachael Ray? For years, she was everywhere. She built an empire on 30 and Nook meals, launched best-selling cookbooks, music, and became a daily presence in millions of homes. But behind the cameras, her story took turns that most viewers never saw coming. So what really happened? And where is she today? Join us as we take a closer look at Rachael Ray's rise, her hardest moments, and what she looks like now. Weeknight cooking. Rachael Ray didn't become famous because she set out to be a TV star. Her rise started in a much more ordinary place, a gourmet food market in upstate New York. At the time, she was working with food every day and dealing with the same thing many people struggle with: how to make a good meal when you're tired, busy, and short on time. Customers would come in after work, stressed and hungry, and ask what they could cook without spending all night in the kitchen. Instead of giving them complicated recipes, she focused on quick, practical steps that felt doable for normal people. That's where the idea of 30 and Nook meals was born. It wasn't meant to be a brand at first. It was simply a helpful method she taught to people who needed real solutions. Music. She showed them how to plan a fast dinner, what ingredients to keep on hand, and how to move through a recipe without getting stuck. Her goal wasn't to impress anyone. It was to make cooking less stressful. Over time, those short lessons turned into something bigger. People started talking about it, repeating it, and wanting more of it. Without trying to, she had created a style of cooking that matched modern life. Quick, energetic, music, and focus on getting food on the table. In 2000, that idea reached a major turning point. She released her first cookbook built around the same simple promise: meals you could make quickly with clear steps and everyday ingredients. The book didn't just share recipes. It sold a feeling of control for people who felt overwhelmed by cooking. It caught attention because it spoke to a huge group: busy workers, parents, students, and anyone who wanted dinner without the stress. That success helped her stand out in a world where many food personalities were still focused on long, fancy cooking. The cookbook also helped her get noticed by Food Network executives. By 2001, she was offered her own show. That move changed everything. In 2002, 30 and It Meals premiered, and it quickly became a hit. Viewers liked her pace, her confidence, and the fact that she didn't talk down to them. The show ran for a long time until 2019, which is a huge achievement in television. It proved that her style wasn't a short trend. It was something people kept coming back to year after year, and she didn't stop with one show. As her popularity grew, she became a regular presence on the network. She expanded into travel and budget-friendly food with programs like $40 a Day Music and Rachael Ray's Vacation. In 2005, she launched her own magazine, adding another major platform to music, her brand. Then in 2006, she debuted her daytime talk show, which ran until 2023. During those years, she juggled TV, publishing, and business while also putting out more than 20 cookbooks and building product lines that kept her name everywhere. On the outside, it looked like a nonstop success story, but the harder parts were already waiting in the background. Next, let's get into what was really going on behind the scenes while she was smiling on camera. The voice everyone recognizes. One of the first things people notice about Rachael Ray isn't just her fast music, cooking style, or energetic personality. It's her voice. That raspy, slightly growly sound has become one of her most recognizable traits. Even if someone wasn't watching the screen, they could often tell it was her just by hearing her speak. Over the years, that voice became part of her brand. It made her stand out in a crowded television space filled with polished presenters and classically trained chefs. For many viewers, the rasp, music, added personality. It felt real and unfiltered. It made her sound different from anyone else on food television. But what most people didn't realize is that the voice millions found charming was actually tied to long-term medical challenges. Rachael Ray has explained that her vocal issues started in childhood. She frequently suffered from CRO, a respiratory condition that affects the airway and can cause swelling around the vocal cords. For some children, CRO is temporary and music fades without lasting problems. In her case, repeated infections weaken her vocal cords over time. That early damage made her voice naturally rougher and more fragile than most people's. As her fame grew, so did speculation. Because her music voice is so raspy, some assumed it was caused by smoking or years of vocal strain, music, from yelling in kitchens. Others simply thought it was an affectation, something she exaggerated for television. She addressed those rumors directly in interviews, explaining that she had never shaped her voice for effect. It was simply how she sounded. She also made it clear that smoking had nothing to do with it. The rasp wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was something she had dealt with music since she was a child. The strain of daily television eventually took a toll. In 2008, she underwent surgery to remove a cyst from music, one of her vocal cords. A cyst can interfere with vibration and make speaking painful or difficult, especially for someone who talks for hours each day. On camera, the procedure required complete vocal rest for music, a full week. No talking at all. For someone whose career depends on speaking, that silence was significant. After surgery, she worked closely with a voice specialist. She learned exercises to strengthen and protect her throat. She was also advised to make lifestyle music adjustments, including reducing caffeine, which can dry out the vocal cords and make irritation worse. Protecting her voice became a daily commitment. It wasn't just about sounding good on television. It was about preventing further damage. Despite all of this, she continued filming, hosting, and appearing publicly with the same energy people expected. Viewers may have heard the rasp, but they didn't always see the discipline behind maintaining it. What sounded natural required real care and constant management. And while she was managing her health on camera, something far more frightening was about to happen off-screen. Just as she was finding her rhythm on television, her life in New York would take a sudden and violent turn. Twice attacked. When people think about Rachael Ray's early career, they often picture the bright parts, cooking, TV opportunities, and her quick meal idea taking off. But before all of that, she went through something scary that changed how she lived and where she chose to build her life. In 1995, she moved to New Music, York City. At that time, the city had started to change. Major crime reforms and policing changes began in the mid-1990s, and crime numbers were beginning to improve compared to earlier years. But improving didn't mean safe. Many neighborhoods still had real risks, and violent incidents could still happen without warning, especially in certain areas and at certain times. Rachael was living in Queens trying to build her life and career like so many young people who come to New York with big goals. But only a couple years after moving there, she became the target of a violent mugging. According to the story she later shared publicly, the first attack happened in the lobby of her apartment building. A young man came in behind her. Before she could react, he slammed her face against the door and pressed a gun into her back. Then he demanded her bag. That moment could have ended very differently, but she reacted quickly. She reached for the mace her father had given her when she moved to the city, turned around, and started screaming. The attacker ran off. Even though she got away, it wasn't a small thing. Being attacked at gunpoint in your own building, where you're supposed to feel safe, can shake your sense of security fast. It's not just a fear in the moment. It's what happens after when you start thinking about every hallway, every door, and every step you take alone. But what happened next made it even worse. Just 1 week later, the same man came back. This time, the situation turned violent again, and she was assaulted in an alley. She was physically beaten. After being attacked once, a person might hope it was bad luck or a one-time thing. Being attacked again by the same person within days makes music. It feels personal and terrifying. It also sends a clear message. This isn't going away on its own. That second attack became the breaking point. Rachael decided she was done with living in fear. She packed up and moved out of the city, heading back to upstate New York. Later, she summed up the decision in a way that was blunt and easy to understand. She had been mugged twice in 1 week, and she didn't want to stay. She even said something along the lines of, "Wouldn't you want to leave?" And honestly, it's a fair question. For most people, 2 violent attacks in such a short time would make staying feel impossible. That move mattered. Upstate New York became the place where she rebuilt her sense of normal life. It's also where she continued shaping the practical cooking style that would later make her famous. The public mostly met her as the upbeat TV personality, But this part of her story shows something else. She made hard choices to protect herself, and she did it without turning it into drama. And just when things seemed calmer, another kind of backlash hit her, this time from the public and even famous chefs. The Dunkin' Firestorm. By 2009, Rachael Ray was already a household name. She had cookbooks, television shows, and a strong connection with everyday families. So, when she partnered with Dunkin' Donuts for an advertising campaign, it didn't seem shocking at first. In fact, it fit her image. Her whole brand was built around accessible food, quick meals, affordable ingredients, and no pressure to be fancy. Coffee and donuts were part of daily life for many Americans, so the partnership looked like a natural extension of her style. But what seemed simple quickly turned into a major public controversy. The biggest criticism came from celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain. He publicly attacked her for endorsing the brand. In interviews, he used strong words, even calling her evil and accusing her of peddling crack to kids. His argument was that promoting fast food and sugary products contributed to unhealthy eating habits, especially among children. Because Bourdain was widely respected in the culinary world, his comments gained attention fast. It wasn't just random online criticism. It was coming from one of the most recognized chefs on television, music, at the time. The situation escalated even further because of something unexpected, a scarf. In one of the ads, Rachael wore a black and white patterned scarf. Some critics online began claiming the pattern resembled a keffiyeh, a traditional Middle Eastern scarf that has political associations in certain contexts. A few commentators went as far as suggesting it symbolized extremism. The accusation spread quickly across blogs and social media. What began as criticism over a donut endorsement suddenly turned into a debate involving politics and symbolism. The backlash grew louder. Headlines multiplied. Online outrage spread. What started as a brand deal turned into a full-blown public relations storm. Through all of it, Rachael Ray did not back down. She addressed the controversy directly in interviews, including one with ABC News. She explained that Dunkin' had approached her about helping improve their menu options. She said the company was working toward offering healthier choices, and that she believed in supporting that music effort. She also pointed out her personal connection to the brand, explaining that she grew up drinking their coffee. Another important piece often overlooked in the controversy was her charity U-Mall. Dunkin' supported her nonprofit organization, which focused on helping kids and families develop better relationships with food. From her perspective, the partnership wasn't just about selling coffee. It also helped fund programs she cared deeply about. Despite the harsh criticism, she stayed firm. She made it clear she did not regret her decision. "I don't regret a thing," she said. For her, the partnership aligned with who she was, someone who believed food should be approachable and part of real life. But the Dunkin' controversy wouldn't be the last time her name got pulled into drama, sometimes for reasons that made even less sense. Next, she would find herself dragged into a celebrity cheating scandal that had absolutely nothing to do with her mistaken identity. One of the strangest waves of backlash Rachael Ray ever faced had nothing to do with cooking, television, or even anything she actually did. It came from a major celebrity scandal that exploded online and pulled her into the mess purely because people mixed up two similar names. It started when rumors about Jay-Z cheating began spreading music heavily on the internet. Around the same time, Beyoncé's music and public image were being discussed in a very intense way, especially after lyrics and public hints made fans feel like they were watching a real relationship crisis unfold in public. The phrase "Becky with the good hair" became a huge part of the conversation. Many fans believed the line pointed to a real person, and people online started trying to solve who it was. Then fashion designer Rachael Ray posted an Instagram caption that some fans thought was a direct reference to the Beyoncé drama. The post included wording that people connected to Beyoncé's lyrics, and that was enough to set off a major reaction. Fans quickly began focusing their anger on Rachael Ray. The problem was that not everyone paid close attention to who she actually was. Some people saw Rachael Ray, heard it quickly or read it fast, and assumed it meant Rachael Ray, the TV cook. That's when the confusion became a real problem. Roy and Ray are two completely different public figures. Rachael Roy is a fashion music designer. Rachael Ray is a television host and cookbook author. They don't work in the same industry. They don't run in the same circles. And there was no real connection between Rachael Ray and the cheating rumors at all. But online outrage doesn't always stop to check facts. Once the mistakes started spreading, it multiplied fast. Rachael Ray began receiving angry messages, comments, and tweets from people who believed she was involved in the scandal. Some of the messages were harsh and personal, accusing her of being a home wrecker and worse. Others said they would stop watching her show or stop supporting her work. It didn't matter that the accusations didn't make sense. In the middle of a fast-moving online pylon, the emotional reaction often comes first, and the truth comes later, if it comes at all. This is where the Beehive reaction became a big part of the story. Beyoncé's fan base is famously intense and loyal, and when they believe someone music has disrespected her, they can be loud and organized online. In this case, some fans were aiming at the wrong person. Rachael Ray was basically caught in the crossfire of an internet storm she didn't create and couldn't control. Eventually, the confusion became widely recognized, and many people understood the mistake. But that doesn't erase what it's like to suddenly be targeted by thousands of strangers' music for something you had zero part in. It was a perfect example of how quickly public anger can spill onto the wrong person, especially when names are similar and people are already fired up. And as if that wasn't enough, the rumors didn't stop there. Next came years of public gossip about her own marriage, the tabloid rumors. In 2005, Rachael Ray married John Cusimano. He isn't just known as her husband. He has his own career as a musician, actor, and lawyer. Over the years, fans of her daytime show got used to seeing him appear alongside her from time to time. He would join her for cooking segments, special episodes, music, or personal moments on camera. Their relationship often looked relaxed and playful, and she spoke openly about how much she valued their time together. But as her fame grew, so did tabloid attention. In 2007, rumors began circulating that John had been unfaithful. Some reports claimed he had been involved with multiple women. These stories were based on unnamed sources and gossip-style reporting, but that didn't stop them from spreading. Once a rumor hits the tabloids, it often gets repeated across different outlets, giving it more attention than proof. Rachael didn't ignore the stories. She addressed them directly in interviews. In one public response, she made it clear that she trusted her husband and knew where he was every night. She firmly denied that there was any truth to the cheating claims. Her tone wasn't dramatic or defensive. It was steady. She didn't add fuel to the story or turn it into a public fight. Instead, she shut it down in a simple and confident way. Several years later, in 2013, the rumors resurfaced in a different form. This time, tabloids reported that John was allegedly involved with a swinger club in New York City. The claim suggested he was a regular at the club, once again implying inappropriate behavior. The story gained traction quickly because sensational headlines tend to attract attention. The couple responded again, this time through their publicist. The allegations were strongly denied and described as completely false. Their representative dismissed the claims as another example of tabloids printing stories without real evidence. Despite the public denials, the rumors lingered in gossip circles, as they often do when celebrities are involved. What stands out through all of it is Rachael Ray's consistent response. She never publicly turned on her husband. She never suggested doubt or uncertainty. She maintained that she trusted him and that their marriage was solid. Even when the stories came back years later, her approach stayed the same, calm, firm, and unwilling to give the rumors more power than necessary. Living under that kind of public microscope isn't easy. For many couples, private struggles stay private. For public figures, even improving claims can become headline news. Yet, she continued showing up to work, hosting her show, and speaking about her marriage without hesitation. She didn't let tabloid stories redefine her relationship. Still, family challenges weren't limited to gossip magazines. Soon, a painful tragedy would bring tension much closer to home. Next, a heartbreaking family loss would turn into a very public feud, a family tragedy. In late 2013, Rachael Ray found herself connected to a tragedy that was deeply personal, but it didn't stay private for long. Her aunt died in an accident in upstate New York, and the story quickly became public. Reports, music, said her aunt was house-sitting when she accidentally locked herself outside during freezing weather. With no way to get back in, the situation turned deadly. It was the kind of loss that already feels unbelievable, and it hit the family hard. What made it even more painful was what happened next. After her aunt's death, there was a funeral, and Rachael and her husband were not able to attend. According to the story that spread in the media, work commitments kept them from being there in person. For most families, a situation like that might stay inside the family, even if feelings are hurt. But when someone is famous, grief can quickly turn into a headline, and private family tensions can become public drama. That's exactly what happened here. A cousin of Rachael Ray spoke to the media and openly criticized her. The cousin blamed the family and pointed directly at Rachael, suggesting that not attending the funeral was unacceptable. The comments were framed as proof that she didn't care enough or that she was disconnected from the family. Some reports even made it sound like her fame and busy schedule mattered more to her than showing up for family. This is where the situation changed from tragedy to feud. When accusations are made publicly, it creates pressure on everyone involved. It's not just about family emotions anymore. It becomes something strangers weighing on, judging people they don't know. And because Rachael Ray is a public figure, the harshest assumptions often land on her first. Many people read the headlines and form music, opinions without knowing the full story, the family relationships, or what was happening behind the scenes. It's also important to remember that families are rarely simple. The person speaking out may have been dealing with their own anger and grief, but taking it to the media gave the story a life of its own. Suddenly, it wasn't just about a heartbreaking accident. It became about whether Rachael Ray was there for her family, and whether her absence meant she didn't care. That's a heavy thing to carry while also grieving. From the outside, it's easy for people to say what someone should do in moments like this. But real life is messy. Work, distance, timing, and complicated music, family ties can all play a role. What's clear is that the loss of her aunt didn't just bring sadness. It also brought public conflict that Rachael couldn't fully control. And not long after that, another headline hit, this time tied to her brand, and a lawsuit that put her name in the spotlight again burnt down world. In August 2020, during a year that was already overwhelming for most people, Rachael Ray experienced a devastating personal loss. Her home in Lake Luzerne, New York, caught fire and was destroyed. This wasn't just any property. It was a house she had designed nearly 20 years earlier. It reflected her taste, her lifestyle, and years of memories. While much of the world was focused on the uncertainty of the pandemic, she was suddenly facing the loss of the place she felt safest. The fire happened quickly. Reports later explained that the